I'd like to bring up his family, Mrs. Faye Chambers, and of course his son, Eddie Chambers, to accept this induction to the Baptist Hall of Fame.
Well, I can tell you about my dad. A little background on him. He was a tinkerer. If he wanted to make something go fast, he would figure out how to make it go faster. When he was in high school and college, he was a semi-professional drag racer. Had one of the first dual-engine dragsters in the southeastern United States. He quit drag racing around 1960. And for some reason, we do not know why, he started training, breeding, and showing Tennessee walking horses. Where that transition came from, we don't know. He did that for a while, and then decided to get out of it and started fishing more. He fished in the Athens Bassmasters Club in Georgia. And there was a spinnerbait that a lot of the guys used that Uncle Josh made. It's called a pettigoat or a pettigo-go. Uncle Josh quit making it. So Dad, being the tinkerer, he contacted Uncle Josh and bought all the components and the molds from them and started making the baits by hand. And it was under the name Hornet Custom Lures. That was in 1977. 1980, there was a company, well, let me back up. Made the spinnerbaits, and then he got interested in making soft plastic worms. That's just the way his mind worked. He'd get tunnel vision. If it's something he wanted to make, he wanted to figure out how to make it and make a dollar doing it. So we had, under the name Hornet Custom Lures, we had 3 worms. We had a 6-inch, 8-inch, and a 6-inch 2-ton. Around 1980, there was a company in Atlanta, Georgia called Zoom Worms. It was owned by 3 different people. They had 2 sets of molds. They did not make anything for themselves. They had fallen out. 50% of it was owned by one person. He contacted Dad because we were making our own stuff, and to see if he'd build a machine to run his mold. So Dad agreed, and for a while there was a little straight-tailed worm with little bitty fine ridges on it. And there's Zoom worms of Kennesaw, Georgia, and Zoom worms from Atlanta, Georgia. There was 2 molds that were identical. So there was 8 colors in it, all solids. We made the worms for the gentleman and shipped them to him in bulk. And he finally had enough of the business and decided to get out. Owed some money, so we made a deal with him. Dad made a deal with him. Kept his molds and his header cards and his bags. And so there were Zoom worms from Athens, Georgia, and Zoom worms from Atlanta, Georgia. Well, the 2 other guys couldn't compete because they didn't make anything themselves, so we bought them out. And that's when the company became Zoom Bait Company. That was in 1981. Dad liked the name Zoom and kept it. The reason the name Zoom came about is the mold for the Zoom worm was hand engraved by a machinist. His last name was Zimmerman. His nickname was Zoom, and they called it the Zoom worm. Dad liked it and kept it. We rocked along there for a little while, making grocery money, until we made a mistake. In 1988, we were making a color called California pumpkinseed and shipping it out to California in a rub. And it was an amber color with black glitter in it. Well, it took 3 pigments from different companies to make that tone of worm. And when we went to mix it, we got an order for them. We went to mix the color, and we were out of one of them, so we had to reorder it. We ordered it from Lurecraft. We got the color in, we mixed it up, we made the worms, we sent them to California. They turned around and sent them back and said these are the wrong color. Can't use them. So we figured out what we did. Lurecraft had sent us the wrong pigment. So we had all these worms that we had sent that we had nothing to do with, and we had a salesman that rode a little route around South Carolina, and he said, I'll take some of them and see if I can sell them to my stores. And he took them one weekend and sold a few of them, and the next week we were bombarded with calls. We've got to have them in the lizard, the U-tail, the finesse worm, the trick worm. We need it in everything. At the time, we were only running 8 machines, and all 8 machines were running pumpkinseed. I rode a sales route around Atlanta back when there was independents and the big box stores were not prevalent. And a lot of my customers were putting the pumpkinseed lizards behind the desk and were rationing them out to the fishermen. Because knowing fishermen as you do, if you put them out where they could get all of them, they would buy every single bag so that no one in the next tournament could have them to compete against them. And Dad, he came to work every day. He was there on Saturdays and Sundays. After he kind of turned the reins over to me and my right-hand man, Eddie Wortham, to run the company, he started with his crankbaits. And then he would come in the mornings. We had 2 buildings. He would come in the mornings to the big building, raise hell about something, get everybody stirred up, and then he'd go over to his place. The crankbaits were a passion of his. Every single one of them, he was the only painter. So every single one that you ever see, he had his hands on. He did all the airbrushing. And we miss him.